You always do.
Yeah. So like.
Mimi, you ready?
Is 72. Phone is down.
Okay. Okay. Good evening. I'd like to call the regular Borough Council meeting of March 14th, 2022 to order. This meeting has been properly advertised in the Home News Tribune of January 7th, 2022, according to public law 1975, Chapter 231. May I have a roll call, please?
Councilwoman Newbauer.
Here.
Councilwoman O'Donnell.
Here.
Councilman Peretti.
Here.
Councilman Potter.
Here.
Councilman Revelinsky.
Here.
And Council President Zambrano.
Here.
All present.
Thank you. Please join me in a moment of silence and salute to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, so we'll move on this evening with a presentation. We have Gwen Murata here from the Milltown Idea Group to talk to us about the proposed multicultural festival.
And Gwen, there's a little, thank you, Blake, for you to put this.
Oh, Gwen, do you want to come up? Yeah.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and members of the council. My name is Gwen Murata, and I'm here on behalf of the Milltown Idea to present our request to host a multicultural festival. Okay. So the goal of this event is to represent and recognize cultural groups of Milltown residents, as well as cultural groups that may not yet be present in our town. So the setup of this event will be really similar to the multicultural festival that we had last year. with a variety of different activities such as dance performances, live music, cultural discussion groups, art displays, and arts and crafts. We also plan on inviting food trucks to participate again, and this year we'd also like to invite vendors from the area to participate in the event. As we get closer to the actual date of the event, we'll have a set schedule and list of performances and activities. So the logistics, we'd like to host the event on Saturday, May 14th from 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. We're requesting the park from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. in order to include sufficient time for setup and cleanup. We have a rain date of Sunday, May 15th with those same times, and the location again would be at Gloria Bradford Borough Park. We'd also like to request a waiver of the fees for the use of the facilities and the police presence. We were really grateful last year to receive that fee waiver. We think, it's a really exciting and fun event for Milltown residents, and having that fee waiver allowed us to, host the event to the best of our abilities. So the facilities at the park that we're requesting use of are the pavilion area. Last year, we were able to use the fence along the pool to hang art, and we had tables in that area that we were able to display art with. We also used that area for arts and crafts and chalk art, and we had a live muralist. So we'd like to use that area again for similar activities and displays. We're also requesting use of the parking lot for pop-up tents and tables to be used by different cultural groups and vendors. We would also have the food trucks in that area. Last year, we also used that area to set up our sound system, and we found that it works as a really good place, like a central place to have that. We're also requesting use of the ball fields backing the parking lot. It's a nice place where people can spread out picnic blankets to eat, hang out, and have discussions and enjoy the events of the day. And in terms of COVID-19, I know things can change day by day or week by week. We're hoping everything will be okay come May. So, but we're willing to be in full accordance with and work with any CDC, state, or local guidelines or regulations. We'll also have, disposable masks and hand sanitizer for anyone that may need them. So thank you, and we hope to be able to host the Multicultural Fest in the May.
Any questions from the council? No?
Look forward to it. It was a lot of fun last year.
Great, thank you.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Gwen.
definitely looking forward
Thank
to
you.
it. Thank you.
And our second presentation is from Mr. Russ Einbinder about the Lions Club Easter egg hunt. Take your time.
And just Gwen, for your knowledge, the approvals will be presented as by resolution at the next meeting. Okay.
Good?
Sure it's all working. Got a remote control.
Sort of.
Good evening, Russell Einbinder, 152A North Main Street. I'm here tonight as on behalf and as president of the Milltown Lions Club. I think you all know that the Lions Club's been around Milltown for a long time, and I'm about to read the contents of the letter that I presented to you and they gave to our clerk, Mimi. Just want to say, first of all, anybody that did come out last week to Maria's to support us for the Dine to Donate, we want to thank you very much for doing that. And we look forward to having some more of those events. We have been kind of regrowing our ranks. When Joan Trent passed away last year, she kind of left the mantle with me to kind of help build it back up. And it's a big set of shoes to fill, and I'm not going to attempt to do that. But I will tell you that we have some wonderful people like Councilman Potter and other people have joined us. And if you want to, just contact me, Dave, or a lot of other people you know in town that are involved in the Lions. You like helping people with the largest service organization in the world. All right, advertisement's over. Okay. And I would like to officially ask for the mayor and council that as we have for 90 plus years, the Milltown Lions Club is once again hosting our annual Easter egg hunt for the children of Milltown. I know because a lot of people have been asking me about it, and I can tell you officially it's going on. We've ordered the eggs, so they will be here shortly. We had to cancel for the last 2 years due to the pandemic, but we are confident that we can hold the event this year by following current guidelines for occupancy and safety, just like we did for the events that happened in town this week. The event is scheduled for Saturday, April 9th, that's the Saturday before Easter, at Albert Avenue Park. We have asked for and received permission from the Recreation Department to utilize the park that date. We are expecting to be at the park between 9 and 1 p.m. Since it's a free event, open for the benefit of the public, as always. We are again requesting reimbursement or just a waiver for the $175 park event fee as in the past. Thanks again for your consideration. Appreciate it. Anybody have any questions before, or? I know it's a really questionable event, but
Questions? No?
nobody's going to ask me who's in the Easter Bunny outfit. See, you guys are good. Take care.
It's the real one.
Yeah.
Silly question is,
Yeah. Madam Mayor, a quick question.
Sure.
And this came up because of Revitalization was asking for some dates to hold their Earth Day events. And I was informed that Revitalization, as a committee of the borough, essentially a borough entity, doesn't need to request through ordinance.
Right.
So just help me
So
out
they
here a
can say-
little bit. I know Lions Club is not
So
a borough.
they're mainly here to request the waiver of the fee.
Okay.
And then, so they come and then at the next meeting, there'll be a resolution that the council can vote on to waive the fee. But anything that's a borough entity doesn't have to come before the council to present because they're already, part of the thing. So if they want to hold an event, they can just put it on our calendar as
Okay.
long as there's time. And then it goes through just to make sure that the, right departments know, so whether it's DPW or police or whomever, but there's no official presentation.
Okay, so Milltown IDEA, are they not an official committee of the, oh, okay. That's where I was getting a little confused, but I appreciate
That's the
it.
Human Relations Committee. That's a committee in the Borough of Milltown. IDEA is a different.
Yeah, we're a nonprofit.
Okay. Appreciate it, thank you.
Okay. Moving on from the presentations, we'll go on to approval of minutes. We have the minutes from February 28th, 2022. May I have a motion and a second?
Madam Mayor, I make a motion that the minutes be approved as typed.
Second?
I have a motion by Councilman Potter, second by Councilman Revelinsky. Any comments or corrections? If not, we'll vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Next on the agenda are comments from the audience. If any member of the public wishes to speak on any of the resolutions, please identify yourself to the clerk and say your name and address for the record. These comments are limited to resolutions listed on the agenda. Seeing none, I will close audience comments and move on to the bill list. For bills and claims. Will the clerk please read by title only the bill resolution 077-2022?
Resolution 77, 2022 is authorizing the payment of bills, claims, and statements against the Borough of Milltown in the total amount of $802,816.32.
You've heard the reading of this resolution. What is your pleasure?
Move
Madam-
that this resolution be adopted. Sorry, Dave.
Nope. Second.
Motion by Councilman Revelinsky, second by Councilman Potter. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilwoman Newbauer?
Aye.
Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Aye.
Councilman Peretti?
Aye.
Councilman Potter?
Aye.
Councilman Revelinsky?
Aye.
Council President Zambrano?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Now we'll move on to introduction of resolutions. When voting on resolutions, all matters listed under the consent agenda are considered to be routine in nature, and having been reviewed by the Borough Council, will be enacted by one motion. Any item may be removed from the consent agenda at the request of any council member, and if so removed, will be treated as a separate matter. Any items requiring expenditure are supported by a certification of availability of funds. Are there any questions, or does anyone on the council want to pull any resolutions from the consent agenda?
Yes, Madam Mayor, I'd like to pull Resolution 082-2022.
082. Okay. Any others? Okay, will the clerk please read the consent resolution?
Whereas pursuant to the rules of council, the council may establish a consent agenda for any regular or special meeting, and whereas the Borough Clerk has posted a consent agenda for this meeting. Now therefore be it resolved by the mayor and the Borough Council of the Borough of Milltown, County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey, that the consent agenda previously prepared by the Borough Clerk be approved without the necessity of having the individual resolutions read by the Borough Clerk.
You've heard the reading of this resolution. What is your pleasure?
Move the resolution be adopted.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilman Peretti, second by Councilwoman Newbauer. Any discussion? Will the clerk please call the roll?
Wait, I was looking at Dave. He pulled it. I thought maybe he wanted to jump in first on the discussion.
Do we talk on the discussion, or do we wait for the
No, we,
Well, you can do this two different ways. I'll just explain it. You can pass all the rest of your consent resolutions, and I would identify that 82's been pulled. And then you can discuss and we can vote
I
again.
thought we already did that. Yeah, okay, sorry.
No, or in fact, if you want to discuss it first and then throw it back into the consent, we could do just one vote,
That's
whichever
probably the
way.
most efficient way. We can discuss it and
Oh,
throw
I
it back
thought,
in.
I thought we said we were gonna pull it and we vote on the ones that are,
Okay, that's,
so we'll vote
that's
on
fine with
these,
me,
and
so,
then we'll come back, okay?
First poll, it's the
Right.
first one
Yep.
pulled.
Okay, yeah, so we're gonna just vote on everything but.
and I'll read for the record those numbers, which is what I usually do, so,
Yep.
yep. So we'll do,
So no discussion, go ahead. So will the clerk please call the roll?
we'll call the roll to approve resolutions 078, 2022 through 081, 2022. Councilman Newbauer?
Aye.
Councilman O'Donnell?
Aye.
Councilman Peretti?
Aye.
Councilman Potter?
Abstain from 079, 2022, and aye for the rest.
Councilman Revelinsky?
aye.
And Council President Zambrana?
Aye.
Okay,
Motion carries.
thank you. All right, now we're going to go back to 082, 2022. Will the clerk please read that resolution by title?
082, 2022 is to authorize rejection of bids and re-advertisement of requests for bids for the project known as the improvements to Hague and Patain Avenues and the Firehouse Monument Foundation.
Okay, you've heard the reading of this resolution. What is your pleasure?
I move that this resolution be adopted.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilman Revelinsky, second by Councilman Peretti. Any discussion?
Yes, Madam Mayor. So the question, so we all know this is getting pulled because it's getting rejected, but what is the time frame for it to be rebid and get the bids back in-house and then for council to vote on? So Jeanette? Yeah.
So the bid specs will be, the notice will be advertised tomorrow. Bids will be received next Thursday, right? The
Thursday at 10 o'clock on the
Thursday, what is-
20, I want to say 24th?
whatever that
24th.
Thursday is before the
24th.
meeting.
24th.
And then we're looking to, hopefully everything will come in, and there will be no problems with it, and we'll award at the Monday, March 28th meeting.
Okay, so we're just looking at 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Okay.
I have some additional questions with that if anyone else, I don't know if you want to go down the line. So I understand that the reasoning behind the rebid on this one. Have the plans and specifications been, I didn't see them come out as to see any changes, what we're looking at here, if what was changed is what council would like to see changed.
So is everybody up to speed on what happened? Do we all?
To an extent, but maybe the general public is not.
Essentially, there was an issue with the
No,
bid
I-
specifications that needs to be addressed by way of revising them and rebidding them, so.
Just
So
wanted to
had-
make sure that everybody was on the same page. Okay.
Has anyone from the borough, other than, I know, Mike, you're the engineer and you wrote the specs, but has anyone from the borough reviewed the revised specifications and do they fall within our liking?
Mike?
All we do is change an item. So we took one of the items out, which was for the work for the firehouse, and made it an alternate item. It's the only change we made.
Okay, and just for, out of my own knowledge, when this bid was done as particular line items for each scope of work, right? Curbs, sidewalk, and the associated quantities with those, and we're allowed to deviate from that amount to a certain degree, correct? Before it invokes like a change order?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, there's, any time you exceed the original contract award, my understanding is we need a change order to the mayor and council. individual items, if they go over, so let's say you had 10 feet of curb and the other 2 feet, 12 feet, as long as you don't exceed the contract amount, there's no necessity for a change order.
Okay, so as long as it's within, equal to or less than the stipulated quantities? And is there,
As long as any change doesn't increase the awarded contract amount. So you award 100,000, you don't exceed that.
okay, so if we wind up doing more curbs and less paving, and it still falls within the budget, then we're good?
But those changes we normally reviewed with your administrator before they're done.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure, because the quick turnaround time to go out to rebid on the 24th, I want to make sure that, you know, we've all got our ducks in a row and we're happy with it.
Agreed.
It was more of a, it wasn't changing the specs, it was just
It's just the
changing
way the items are set up, yeah. It's allowing the firehouse to be an alternate item. That's what
Right,
it is.
okay, good.
And then, just for the public's knowledge, can you explain what exactly is entailed in the contract that is going out to bid?
Yeah, it's a road reconstruction project for Hagen Butane. In it, we included the firehouse foundation for the monument that's being relocated from Main Street. And that's why we were asked to take that and make an alternate item. It was not an alternate item in the original bid.
But as far as the scope of road reconstruction, that's going to be curb,
Curb,
sidewalk?
brand new pavement, and storm drainage improvements, and the road we put back to borough standards.
Okay, and do we incorporate with any of that? I know sometimes the curb boxes are sticking up high for residents, or do we have any amount in there for adjustment to grade?
Yeah, they're adjusted to grade if necessary. That's right.
Okay.
We're gonna be topsoil and seed the curb. If there's a change in the grade, they'll all be adjusted, not replaced. Sometimes you can't adjust them.
Okay.
And the water lines are fine in that area as well?
Well, the water lines are, we checked the brake history, you don't have a real brake history there. We can't tell you they're brand new, obviously, like many of your lines. But you're in the middle of looking at lining these projects, both structurally, as you know, or cement lining, and that's one good opportunity to do it there.
Okay,
Okay.
so you'll check those as they...
Yeah,
Yep,
that's right.
perfect.
The cost to change the water line, the DOT doesn't, this is a DOT funded job, they don't fund the water lines, you have to pay that out of additional funds at the time that's not available.
Okay.
Okay?
Mike,
Just one more question.
Yes.
Go.
So PSE&G's been through there already?
Yeah, matter of fact, they are, and we've checked with them, and they're done.
Okay,
Okay? That's what delayed the project, we held the bid until they got done, because
okay.
we don't want your contractor banging up against them. So
Okay.
it's delayed.
one more question about that. Do you know if I'm assuming we did our due diligence here, but did we TV the gravity sewers there as well and make sure those are intact?
Yeah, the borough has a program where they TV sewers regularly. Because you can internally repair them, we're not that concerned anymore. Obviously, as you know, they can be repaired pretty much a lot easier than doing open cut anymore. So, that'll be repaired and then adjusted then if it's a problem.
And so this is a DOT grant. DOT covers our roads, sidewalks, curbs.
Right.
If we were to combine for a future project to do roadway, curbs, sidewalks, as well as any water main or sewer work, would that be a separate grant then through, is that DEP?
Well, it's complicated. Unfortunately, the DOT will not fund utilities.
Right.
Unless they're the need to relocate. Let's say, for example, you gotta run a storm sewer through a water line, they'll basically cover usually that, assuming you have money. Remember, a lot of these times, the DOT grant is less than what the total project amount is. With regard to financing for water and sewer repairs, right now, there aren't really grant programs. There's the I-Bank, and those funds are available, as you know. The only complication is because of the size and the magnitude of dealing with the loan program. Unless you have a project that's probably in excess of $1 million, usually not to your advantage. There's a fee the DEP has to put that out. Certainly, the borough could consider it, but not something normally done for smaller improvements like that. So you really have to raise that money yourself. Now, you have received money from Department of Community Affairs the last couple of years, and there's some money around for that. So that's an option too.
Okay. Where my mind's going here is that, if we were able to get water sewer lines and looked at and identified a project for that, then following up with a DOT grant to do the roadway and sidewalk work. Does the DOT ever work in concert with the DEP from your experience?
Yeah, they have.
That if you've got an I-Bank project and you're looking to get the DOT portion paved, do they look at that favorably and say, okay, we'll cover that?
Actually, there's a program where they actually work with DOT hand in hand with the I-Bank funds, that's right. Yeah. So these are, large commitments that the I-Bank, you'd have to go to really make it productive, and I can let your financial people talk to you about that. But after up to $1 million, the program is just so onerous that it's hard to justify. Sometimes the fees that you pay are in excess of what you're getting out of the grant.
Gotcha. Thanks, Mike.
And it's not a true grant, it's more of a.
No, it's a loan, actually.
It's a loan.
Right.
So the I-bank is your borrowing. The DOT is grants.
Right.
And we also have the 2 grants that we got from the state.
That's right.
Of 1 and 2 million the last 2 years, which I believe the utility committee has been meeting to decide where they would go. So if they want to work in conjunction with the DPW committee to map that out, that would be great. But
Right.
there's
Right.
a little bit of a difference between a grant and a
Absolutely.
small.
Right, I'm just thinking, because when you do go for those loans, part of the work for doing a water main or a sewer project is the repaving. So if we're able to fund the water sewer portion and then say,
Right.
we've got a grant for the paving,
Don't-
potentially we could,
Yeah,
cut some of those
don't pave
costs
it.
and get more bang for our buck.
Don't pave the road and then have to go tear it up 2 years later.
Okay.
That's where my mind's at.
Right, right.
One last question for you, I think, anyway. Could you explain how these 2 projects were put together? Because they're seemingly unrelated, the monument base and the
The borough had asked us to get some prices on the firehouse foundation. And you have to understand, with the pandemic, the economy and the way construction project done has totally changed. Concrete is very hard to get. The prices have gone significantly higher in many cases, especially on a small project. So what is commonly done is you'll take a project like that and add it to a larger job and get economies of scale. So, for example, if we're doing miscellaneous concrete, you get the same price that you would in bulk as you do for a small amount. That's why it's generally done. Bidding it separately, one guy had one price, the guy was like 2 or 3 times it, so it depends on how they look at it. But generally, when you combine it with a larger contract, you get an economy of scale, that's what it's done, and recommend.
Fantastic, thank you.
You know what, I got one more. Sorry. What is the additional cost to the borough for having to go out to rebid?
The only thing I can think of is the cost to run the ad. I mean, we did the change in like 15 minutes. It's really no additional cost to you all. As I said, the cost to run another ad.
Thanks.
How much is that, maybe?
$52.50.
Anything else? Okay, so now, that was our discussion, so now we'll call the roll, take a vote.
Councilwoman Dubauer,
Aye.
Councilwoman O'Donnell,
Aye.
Councilman Peretti,
Aye.
Councilman Potter,
Aye.
Councilman Revelinsky,
Aye.
Council President Zambrana.
Aye.
Motion carries to approve 082, 2022.
Thank you. Okay, now we have an introduction of an ordinance. There will be no public input on the introduction of ordinance 22-1508. The introduction summary will be published in the Home News Tribune on March 17th, 2022, and second reading, public hearing, and final adoption will be considered on March 28th, 2022. Full copies of the ordinance will be posted on the Borough website, on the bulletin board at the municipal building, and available at no cost at the office of the municipal clerk between the hours of 8 a.m. and 4:30 p.m., Monday through Friday. The title is 22-1508, Bond Ordinance Providing for Roadway Improvements to Clayton Court by and in the Borough of Milltown in the County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey, appropriating $650,000 therefore, inclusive of a State of New Jersey Department of Transportation grant in the amount of $520,233, and authorizing the issuance of $129,767 bond or notes of the borough to finance part of the cost thereof. So I'll need a motion and a second to introduce 22-1508.
Motion.
Second.
I have a motion by Council President Zambrana, second by Councilman Potter. Any comments or discussions from the council?
I've got one. I don't know, Mr. Vignola, real quick. I don't know, do we need to introduce these by, I move that ordinance number X be adopted first reading, published according to law, and public hearing, yada, yada, yada? Yeah, just want to make sure we're doing things by the book.
I mean, I think our Borough Clerk understood what the nature of the motion was, and I think, you don't have to make the motion that way, we typically do, so.
It's more than a mouthful.
Yeah.
And that's why.
Yeah, no,
If we can move the
understood.
short way, by all means.
Mimi sort of gotten us off that.
Okay.
We're trying to.
The other question I have here is the issuance of $129,767 for bonds or notes, and I'm just wondering where that value came from.
Jeanette?
So we were given an estimated list of costs, and so the grant covers some of the cost of the project, and then for those items that are not covered, we would be responsible for funding that, and so that's where those amounts come from.
So the
I don't know if it's in there.
almost $130,000 would be for the design and then bid phase portion?
Design fees and then permitting and things that aren't covered by the grant.
And the grant doesn't completely cover the full construction cost.
Right.
Yeah, so it's we got a grant for 520, they're saying it's gonna cost about 650, so the 120, 130 is the difference.
And that 650 is inclusive of all the design
Soft costs.
costs? Okay. I just want to make sure that we get off to the right foot on this one and don't wind up going over budget. Being in construction sales as it is now, I know prices are skyrocketing.
Yeah.
So anything we can do to start off on the right foot and make sure we get the best price, I'd like to make sure we do that.
Agreed.
Any other discussion? Will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilwoman Dubauer.
Aye.
Councilwoman O'Donnell.
Aye.
Councilman Peretti.
Aye.
Councilman Potter.
Aye.
Councilman Revelinsky.
Aye.
Council President Zambrano.
Aye.
Motion carries to introduce ordinance 22-1508.
Thank you. Now we'll move on to the council reports. We'll start with the Department of Finance, Administration, and Planning. Council President Phil Zambrano.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Short finance report tonight, other than to say that there will be dates that are going to be put together next week to get started on the budget process for this year. We're planning, is it okay to say that we're having a strategic planning meeting next Tuesday in Borough Hall on March 22nd to go over various items in town and to solicit public input on those items. And the Ford Avenue Redevelopment Agency meeting is tomorrow, so after that meeting is over, I'll come back with any discussion items to the council and to the folks in the borough. And that concludes my report.
Great, thank you. Next, we'll go on to the Department of Public Safety. Councilman Dave Potter.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I have 4 reports this evening. The first report is from the Milltown Rescue Squad. So the monthly report for February, they've had a total of 71 calls. 49 of them have been in Milltown, 8 of them on the New Jersey Turnpike, and 14 mutual aid. Their busiest day of the week was Wednesday. We provided mutual aid 14 times to areas including North Brunswick, East Brunswick, and Spotswood. They've transported 33 patients to area hospitals, while these remaining calls did not warrant transportation. Had 4 specialized responses to provide fire scene support with the rehab trailer. These calls were in towns including East Brunswick, Highland Park, Middlesex Borough, and Rawley. RWJ is allowing 1 person to visit a patient in the emergency room. 2 parents or guardians may accompany a pediatric. Thank you. Yes. A child at one time. St. Peter's is also allowing 1 person to visit the ER with the patient, and both parents and guardians can be with this patient. Still limiting transportation of non-patients in the ambulance until the Department of Health provides updated guidance. They're continuing to wear masks on all calls. Hospitals are still requiring all patients and visitors to be masked, regardless of vaccination status. Anyone who's interested in learning more or joining the rescue squad or becoming an EMT should email recruitment@milltownrescuesquad.org. To learn more, they're happy to answer any questions. Their annual open house will be May 15th, 2022. They're going to have other events scheduled for the month of May to help celebrate Milltown Rescue Squad Month. Please visit their social media or website, www.milltownrescuesquad.org, to learn more. My second report is from the Milltown Police Department. To all our residents, from Chief Brian Kennelly. Between February 9, 2022 and March 13, 2022, police have responded to 1,066 calls for service. During this period, police conducted 118 radar details in numerous locations. Police made 167 motor vehicle stops during this period. 7 arrests were made, which include shoplifting, burglary, and resisting arrest. Police responded to 12 motor vehicle accidents, which included minor injuries. A reminder to residents that we are experiencing a rise in vehicle burglaries and stolen vehicles. Neighboring towns have reported multiple stolen vehicles on a single night. Milltown Police remind residents not to store and/or broadcast any valuables in their parked vehicles. Remember to lock your vehicle doors and never leave keys or any key fobs or proximity keys inside your parked vehicle. We're also investigating a residential burglary which occurred on Bernard Drive. Milltown Police will begin a strict speed enforcement campaign. Police will be conducting extended daily radar details on Couthall and Riva Avenue with very little tolerance for excessive speed. Our residents are reminded of our 25-mile-an-hour speed limit on these roads, and we should all obey local and state traffic laws. The Milltown Police Department is currently accepting applications for part-time records clerk secretary, part-time crossing guards, and a part-time police dispatchers. Applications are available online at www.milltownnj.org or in person at the Milltown Borough Clerk's office. Please continue to report suspicious activities, traffic concerns, and non-emergent type calls to 732-828-1100. Emergency and life-threatening calls, please use 911. Residents are reminded to report any concerns and/or complaints by using the official borough website or by calling the Milltown Police directly. The Milltown Police Department does not monitor and will not react, reply, or respond to comments or complaints posted on any third-party social media sites. Thank you for your cooperation, Chief Brian Kennelly. A couple other things regarding the police department, Madam Mayor, is the PBA 330, PBA Local 338, they're having a March Madness watch party on March 26th at the American Legion. It's $50 a ticket. Please contact Nick or Mike at the Milltown PD. They're also still having their annual fund drive. If you receive this letter in the mail from your police department, please mail it in with your donations. They'll gladly accept it. And that is my report for the Milltown Police Department. My next report, Madam Mayor, is with the Milltown Fire Department. The monthly report for February 2022. To date, they had 2 drills, 1 meeting, 8 fire calls, 4 work details, total incidents of 15. Some general information. There's progress that's been made on the junior program, and they look forward to this program beginning in April. The mask mandate was lifted at the firehouse. Masks are now optional. Today, I actually participated there. They had the Youth in Government. Youth in Government visited the firehouse. The 8th grade students making their first visit to the new firehouse. It was very good. They had all the chiefs there, the police, and they were basically looking to recruit into the new program. This was Mrs. Lombardi's Youth in Government, which they're going to be here, I found out, in April.
That's right.
So they'll be here in April. So regarding, also too, their LoSAP calculations were forwarded to Jeanette for 2021. Regarding membership, Mike Wolf put in his resignation letter. Mike faithfully served for 30 years, and we all thank him for his service to the borough. And Shane Ewing began his training at the Fire Academy. He'll be going 8 hours a day, 5 days a week from February 28th until May 5th. For training, they had their annual SCBA recertification was done. Inventory on apparatus was also completed. Regarding vehicle maintenance, engine 63 has been repaired, their master intake valve, adjusted the air horn, repaired the light tower was adjusted. Engine 62 repaired a bad electronic module, temporarily one installed until the part's available. Engine 72's tank continued to leak despite repairs. The members brought it back to a vendor in Farmingdale. and it will be repaired again, and they should have it back this week. But good news is, Ladder 73 had their final repairs done, and this apparatus is fully in service. I just want to also send a special thank you to Assistant Chief Anthony Fama. I read these vehicle maintenance reports each week, and you know, some come off the list and some come on, but he's been very diligent at staying on top of these things. So, Assistant Chief Fama, thank you very much for staying on top of these vehicles and saving the borough money on this as well. So, thank you. Regarding equipment maintenance, the borough mechanic repaired 3 saws, 8 Vulcan flashlights were replaced with LED ones. Hoses ordered in August should be delivered in March. Regarding buildings and grounds, investigating a new floor scrubber, machines for bay floors, new hoses purchased for hose reels, and donated gym equipment being installed for the upstairs storage area. Members are always needed. Any candidates interested in joining the Milltown Fire Department are encouraged to stop by the firehouse Monday nights at 6:30 p.m. or email joinmilltownfire@gmail.com. Respectfully submitted, Stephen Battaglia, Chief of the Fire Department. Just a few other announcements, Madam Mayor. I would like to, despite our condolences that on March 2nd, the Milltown Fire Department and our community lost a great person, Sam Popped Carasso. Sam was actually our 2017 Grand Marshal and was an active member of the Milltown Fire Department for 60 years. He's only one of 3 firefighters who've ever served for over 50 years, and our thoughts and prayers go out to the Carasso family. Finally, Milltown 4th of July update. We had a successful celebrity bartender event this past Saturday night. We'd like to thank all that attended, especially our celebrity bartenders, the American Legion Post 25 for allowing us to host it there, and especially the Milltown 4th of July Committee for their efforts in putting this great event together. It's also a pleasure to announce that we have selected our 2022 Grand Marshal, Milltown's very own Kathy Magnuson, who retired from teaching in Milltown for over 30 years in 2004, but still teaches today in Milltown as a substitute teacher. So we're very happy to have her as our Grand Marshal this year. Please keep an eye out for next time to donate. And finally, I'd like to thank my council colleagues for approving this year's resolution and allowing the 4th of July organization to put on our event in town. And that concludes my report.
Sure.
Order, please.
Margaret, I think he has to
any
be.
long report I've ever done.
Thank you very much, Councilwoman Potter. And we do, it was sad, we send our condolences about Sam Carasso, who was a great institution for the fire department and in Milltown, and you did a great job with the fundraiser. It was a lot of fun. Everybody had a great time. And speaking of which, all of the people that you read about in the public safety were also part of our hometown heroes in the 8th grade March Madness, too. So they're busy. Okay, now we will move on to the Department of Utilities.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The water and sewer report this month, along with all scheduled work orders, markouts, emergency markouts, and pump checks, the water sewer department has the following to report. 4 new water meters have been installed. A water main break was repaired at the intersection of Bear and North Brook. Water service repairs were made on Townsend along the existing work being completed by PSE&G. A sewer blockage occurred on Chestnut and Highland on March 4th. The use of water for the sewer jetter caused some low pressure and minor discoloration for a short period to some residents. The department is sorry for the inconvenience, but appreciates the residents' patience during that time. Please check channel 15 and milltownnj.org for any water sewer updates. From the electric department, daily substation checks were completed daily. During these checks, a tripped circuit breaker was discovered in a substation circuit panel. Department members traced the wiring and found a short circuit in an exterior light fixture ballast. The ballast was removed and converted to an LED light, as well as the adjacent fixture was also converted to an LED light. Line clearance was performed on Northbrook Drive, Pardon Avenue, and Cleveland Avenue. Line clearance is ongoing and has been effective in reducing outages. Streetlights were repaired at 304 Northbrook, 3 Blueberry Drive, 41 Janet Court, and on the corner of Durst Drive and Janet Court. A new LED streetlight was installed on Miller's Lane to replace a defective fluorescent fixture. Ground wires were repaired on utility poles on Ford Avenue and Dowden Street. Electric department members assisted the water department by troubleshooting a malfunctioning pump controller at Church Street Pump Station. Troubleshooting for a pressure control valve at Elkins Lane Booster Station was also performed. A new micro switch was purchased and installed on Bucket Truck's 10 outrigger system after investigation by department members. And a new service drop was installed to a dwelling on Washington Avenue to facilitate a new addition and service relocation. The old service drop was removed. The installation of the new traffic signal at South Main and Miller's Lane required a new service so that existing wires across the roadway could be removed. A new transformer was installed to remove it from the circuit on Miller's Lane, and a new system installed by Middlesex County as battery backup to keep it functioning for several hours in the event of a power outage. The utility department worked with the billing department to rectify billing issues and replace malfunctioning meters. I'd like to remind the public that electric meters are to be accessible to meter readers. We are encountering properties with lock gates prohibiting access. This makes meter reading more time-consuming and ties up the department's limited crew. However, there are other options if residents cannot have more accessibility. Residents can fill out monthly reading cards and submit them to the billing department, or residents can take pictures of their electric meters and send them to the following email address: aham, spelled H-A-M-M, at milltownborough.com. Once again, it's AHAMM at milltownborough.com. Cards are available at the billing office or can be delivered to your mailbox if you request them. Residents are also reminded that they are required to post a warning on any gates where a dog may be in the backyard. Meter readers have been unfortunately attacked by dogs because no warnings were posted. Please check Channel 15 and milltownnj.org for any electrical updates. Now just a couple committee reports. The Utilities Committee did meet the first week of March and had a lot to discuss recently. Residents have seen some recent communication being shared for lead services. Currently, Milltown is actively working to meet our DEP requirements in identifying any lead services in homes. Residents can expect a survey communication to be mailed to their homes with information on how to identify service line materials in the future. We continue discussions on our new force main project. Our engineers have presented us with their plans so far, and we'll be sharing a report to the larger council with more details on the selected design soon. The committee will be meeting again shortly to continue conversations on that force main project, discuss implementing smart meters, and to further review areas in Milltown for future pipe cleaning and lining projects. And finally, due to a supply chain delay in our delivery for the softball lights, we unfortunately have to delay the installation of those lights to the summer months to avoid interrupting the regular spring season. We will be working with the Little League organization and our Musco vendors to coordinate accepting delivery and staging the materials until installation can begin. And finally, on to the Human Relations Committee. The HRC Committee will be expanding the scope of the HRC Book Club to incorporate other media, including movies, podcasts, etc. We will now call our group the HRC Media Club. Please send in your suggestions for movies, podcasts. There will be a free event with Isabella Wilkinson, who was the author of Cast. This was the first book featured at the HRC Book Club, and they meet on Wednesdays, by the way. Details and registration can be found for that free event with the author of Cast at tewnj.org/Isabel Wilkerson. And last but not least, the planting subcommittee will be meeting this week to continue planting the Milltown Main Street planters. New planters will be placed at the entrance of Mill Pond Path by the clock tower. More information about the planter program and how to support it will be available on Earth Day. And that concludes my report as well.
Great, thank you. You have a lot going on too. Everybody's busy. Next, we'll move on to the Department of Public Works and Recycling, Councilwoman Anna Newbell.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. A short report tonight from the DPW. Along with all curbside and trash collection, the DPW has the following to report. Work has begun on all fields. Infield mix has been added and prep will continue until completed. And this is for the Little League fields. Potholes have begun to be filled and will be continued to be filled as manpower allows. Catch basin cleaning has begun as per stormwater regulations, and sign repair has taken place around town and will be ongoing as needed. Borough Park bathrooms have been painted, and the county is hosting its first Household Hazardous Waste Day on Sunday, March 20th at the Middlesex County College. Reminder, as spring cleanups begin, please do not use plastic bags for garden waste or grass. You must put it in cans only, without any bags. Also, if you require the chipper for wood, please call the Borough at extension 186 to request it. Please check Channel 15 and milltownnj.org for DPW updates. And additionally, our next Board of Health meeting is next Tuesday, March 22nd, 2022. And we're going to try to put it in person.
Okay. Good. Sounds good.
Yeah. And that's all I have to report tonight.
Thank you. Next, we'll move on to the Department of Environmental Health and Social Services. Councilman Rich Sreblinski.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Very short, we've got a revitalization committee. Earth Day, April 23rd. We are looking to do some fun events this year. Actually, the day should start off with some cleanup at different locations around town. Home base is tentatively located at, I believe it's Mill Pond Park is the official name, over there behind the ice cream depot, where you can go and they'll tell you where we need some folks to help clean up. And then reconvene back in that location around 12 o'clock, 12:30, and have some educational programs as well as crafts for the kids. So if you have an idea at home and you want to do a craft or want to help out, the more volunteers, the better. And keeping with the Sabbath as the day of rest and relaxation on Sunday, the committee is also looking to have everyone come out who volunteered and really enjoy the environment on Sunday. So bike riding, walking around town, enjoying the paths, and I know for one, as long as it's not too cold out, I will be out on the water in my kayak. So please come out and join us for that. As I reported during the last council meeting, the school board did amend its policy regarding the masks, which is a great thing. I know it was like first day of school for a lot of kids on March 7th when they showed up and no one had their masks on. A lot of fun for them, a lot of smiles to see, and that was great. So far, things are going well, and I do know that it was also brought up during that meeting in regards to the school board's schedule. And the school board schedule is pretty much made during the summer months. They go school calendar year, so the fall through the summer, and we hope that in the future, at least this year, they consider amending their schedule to accommodate residents to attend both council meetings as well as school board meetings. So looking forward to that one. Green Team and Environmental Commission. The Green Team, unfortunately, we have a real hard time getting together on the second Tuesday of the month, so I've sent out an email requesting alternate dates to be proposed, so we may need to revisit the resolution at the beginning of the year during reorg to identify a different date to have those meetings. Environmental Commission is meeting on March 23rd at 7 p.m. Those are Zoom calls, so hopefully we can kind of combine those two and maybe knock it out around the same time. There's a lot of same ideas floating around between the Environmental Commission and the Green Team. So.
How many people are on the Green Team?
I believe there are 5, if I'm not mistaken.
And they weren't aware of the date that was posted?
They were, but apparently last year it was a difficult date as the second Tuesday of the month. And they've requested that it be changed, and unfortunately over the last 2 months, we haven't been able to get much more than one person to participate in those Zoom calls because of the schedules conflict, so.
From last year, they were trying to figure out a day that worked for all of them, the best, all of the current members.
And still a year later, they haven't done it?
It was last, month that they realized. We had some people move and some people know that they were leaving.
Okay. So,
Yeah.
we had
additions.
too, right?
Yes, we had new
have
members
openings.
this year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else, Rich?
That does it for me. I know the Board of Health is meeting on March 22nd, but Anna, as our liaison to the Board of Health, hopefully she'll have the report for us at the next council meeting.
Great.
That wraps it up for me.
Thank you. Excuse me. Next, we have the Department of Recreation. Councilwoman Margaret O'Donnell.
Thanks so much. So I will go in date order of these meetings. So I'll start with our library board, with second Tuesdays at 6:30 for anyone who wants to join. The most recent meeting, we had learned about updates to the website, computers, and some of the systems that they're using there. We did have to make a farewell to Miss Susan, for those who knew that she did all of those story times with the kids so enthusiastically. We'll definitely miss her at the library, but it's an important role there, so they are filling that as quickly as possible with a youth services librarian. The job opening the job posting closes on Friday, and interviews will start as early as Monday if anyone happens to be qualified and interested. They recently hosted a grant-funded new program called Creature Comforts, and I thought that was an interesting one to highlight today. It was kids reading to a dog, and that will continue, so watch for more of those creature comforts in the future. Also watch for more collaborations with the arts. There will be an art show and music coming up soon at the library. The library does physically need a new roof, and they have been providing estimates to the borough for that. With the nice weather, you can expect more developments in the gardens outside of the library. The board is working on updating bylaws, and the library is working on updating policies. And the Friends of the Library wanted Milltown residents who participate in the photography contest to be aware of an earlier deadline for the photographs to be submitted. The hope is to have the calendars ready earlier so that more of them are sold the year before, in advance of January 1st. So that new deadline is June 20th. And that concludes my report for the library. The Recreation Advisory Committee will be meeting on this Wednesday. It's always the third Wednesday at 7. This particular meeting will be on Zoom, but we hope that it'll be the last one on Zoom for a while, and that future meetings will be in person, potentially in some of the area parks. Ron Cephalone is our new Recreation Director, and he will be taking the reins of those meetings going forward. Let me read the report from the Recreation Department before I move on to that. This was submitted by Ron Cephalone. Here we go. Registration is now open for spring tennis, track and field, and the new multi-sport classes. We're about ready to begin the spring soccer clinics this week, March 17th. Registration is ongoing for spring soccer and is set to start on April 16th. So that's different from the clinic. This would be the league. Set to start April 16th, so mark your calendars. Registration deadline will be Monday, April 4th. As always, soliciting volunteers for the spring soccer program, including coaches. Spring T-ball registration will begin on Friday, March 18th. Spring yoga, women's volleyball, and men's basketball registrations will open March 16th. The Recreation Department is accepting employment applications for seasonal summer employment at the Borough Pool and Albert Avenue Summer Rec Camp. Note that there will be no applications available in person. All of the applications should be completed online. And those applications are due by April 1st. With spring on the way, please remember that if you're interested in renting the any Milltown Park, please contact the Recreation Department directly what is happening here? Seriously, to acquire a park facility usage form. And please note that ongoing acceptance of non-perishable food donations for Milltown Neighbors in Need, as well as the Middlesex County Food Bank, which absolutely supports Milltown residents. And they are to be dropped off in the green bins in the main lobby as opposed to the police entrance vestibule, which is a no-no. And then lastly, the Historic Preservation Committee meets on the fourth Thursdays at 7 via Zoom. That committee plans to stay on Zoom because that has been working out well, and the next meeting is March 24th. And I beat Dave in time, I think. I may have even beat some of the other people, which may be a record for me. Thank you. That concludes my reports.
Okay, Administrator Jeanette, anything this evening? Engineer, Mr. McClellan?
Two very quick comments, Mayor. First is to advise that the work has begun on Chestnut Street. Remember, we may, just to remind everyone, we're changing the water line on Chestnut Street from Van Loo to Oak/East Lawrence, and we're putting a new line in on Highland from Van Loo to Oak Avenue. And the work has commenced. We'll keep you posted of the progress as it continues. Second item is the corrosion control treatment system is currently being installed at Elkins Lane, and things are going well. We're hoping for a completion by the end of the month. That's all we got.
Okay, great, thank you. Attorney report, anything?
Nothing from legal.
Okay. I have a couple of quick comments. The food drop-off here reminded me that there is also a location at St. Paul's Church for food drop-off, so I had a few calls to mention that. So to help our neighbors in need, there are other locations that drop off, and one of which is St. Paul's Church. And also, when Councilman Revelinsky was talking about biking, it reminded me that we mentioned at the last meeting or the meeting prior that we did get a grant for $250,000 for bike paths from the state. So that prompted me to get in touch with the Bill Neary, who's with Keep Middlesex Moving. He was the mayor of East Brunswick, and now he's with a county organization that has a lot of ideas about biking, pedestrian safety. They can help with bike racks and other things, so I'm going to meet with him on Monday, and he can come to a meeting to make a presentation of the council about how we can, coordinate with the county now that we have some extra money for bike paths. And other than that, I will say it was nice to be back out and around this weekend to see all the citizens engaged. To see the 4th of July committee did a fantastic job. We thank all of them and all of the people that came out to support that, and all of the people that came out to support the 8th grade class. So that was the last two events that happened 2 years ago, right before the lockdown, and now it was nice to be back and to start to see everybody in person. So good to see everyone. With that, we'll move on to old business. Does any member of the council have any old business to bring before us this evening?
Yes, Madam Mayor. Councilman Revelinsky brought up in our last meeting regarding the Cottage Avenue Firehouse and the Chief Kennelly speaking with the Chief Italia. And I had a brief conversation with Chief Kennelly a couple days ago, and we can maybe expect a presentation from the OEM in a future council meeting.
Okay, great. Thanks. Anyone else?
Yes, Madam Mayor. For old business, I just want to give a little update on the Schwindeman property. I did obtain a copy of the grant paperwork, which alludes to about $100,000 grant from the county. And while that did expire back, I want to say 2 years ago, we're hopeful that it'll stay active. In the meantime, I'll say again, Chief Ralph is obtaining quotes, and we're going to see how far we can get with that money and see what we can do with the property to finally get that project moving along.
I think he got quotes, didn't he?
One so far, mostly for the drywall, windows, doors, things of that nature that need to be done. Still waiting on HVAC, electrical, plumbing, and then of course there's going to be, if we are going to make access to that building, we'll have to make some ADA compliance changes as well, which will include work to the grounds for paving, for smooth surfaces, all that fun stuff that goes along to it. And quite frankly, I'm concerned that I think the grant money and the amount that we have is not going to be enough to get done what we want to get done. So we're going to have tough decisions ahead of us, but we'll see what those numbers come in as.
Okay, great. Thank you. Any other old business? Seeing none, we'll close old business and move on to new business. Does any member of the council have any new business to bring before the council this evening? Seeing none, we'll close new business and move on to audience comments. The public comment portion of our meeting is to allow the public to bring to the council's attention their concerns or comments. The council will respect the public's time by refraining from any comment until the speaker has finished. It should be further noted that the public question comment portion of our meeting is not structured as a question and answer session. If a member of the public has a specific specific question they seek answers to, an appointment can be made with the appropriate office. Please state your name and address for the record when you come to the podium. Good evening. How are you?
Lee Weisenberger, 99 JFK Drive. A follow-up question on Ford Avenue with the truck parking over there. Any answers?
I'm going to divert that back to our PA and me, but I believe that the police have been taking action on some of the activities that are going on over there and enforce the rule of law, so to speak.
The zoning official.
Yeah, zoning. And I think the police were over there as well at some point. Making sure some of the vehicles that we see over there are not just stolen vehicles, we, stashed. So,
It's not zoned for that, so the zoning official.
Yeah, so the zoning official has been in contact with the property manager, also forwarded a letter over to them, and I don't have an update as of today, but I know that they were working to resolve that issue. So if they don't comply, there will be summonses and things of that
That's
nature.
progress.
We're working on it, we really are.
They're still there.
Yep, appreciate it. Mike,
Yes, sir.
Patain and Hague,
Yes,
that's full reconstruction?
yes, correct.
The same as West Foch and Pershing gonna be?
Well, that's all part of it, just this is the
It's-
first part. The
Okay,
second
so
part is
that's
still.
sewer line, the whole schmeal.
Correct.
Now-
Well,
No, not the sewer.
Foch is
No
a.
sewer line.
Foch is a sewer. Hague and Patain, no. Storm sewer.
Okay. I was just curious, I've asked this question before, you weren't here, but PSNG is replacing a lot of gas line. Percentage of the town, number of streets, 75%?
That's been handled with Public Works, so we don't know exactly what the numbers are. But there's a significant amount of work being done. And it's good news to have the gas main repaired and updated. So it's much like we do with our water and sewer lines when we have funds. The gas company's doing their lines also.
I understand that, but as I drive around town, there's a lot of streets that need repaving. Now, PSNG is gonna repave some now, this is gonna be a half deal?
Our understanding is that they have worked it out with the Public Works Director, and in some cases, they're gonna pave center line to the gutter, depending on where the gas main actually sits, and that's being worked out with Mr. Jasnowski.
Okay, like I said, that's gonna, be different everywhere then, when you see the way they're digging and.
Depends on where the gas main is. You got gas main
Yeah.
services, and Ralph has been working with, I assure you, he will get them to pave as many streets and as much street as he can.
Yeah, but they normally would only pave half.
Yeah, usually, on the old days, they just did a trench.
Yeah, well.
These days, through a lot of efforts, the borough's got them to agree, I think, from half to the shoulder, or to the gutter. But it's come a long way from just doing trenches, which is what they did years ago.
Yeah, like I said, I'm just curious that down the road, probably gonna be a lot of people upset if you only get half a street. I mean, East Brunswick, I've got friends over there, that's what happened.
Right, no, I know, and, well, that's part of what they have to coordinate with
Right.
the water lines, the gas
Right.
lines, and then with the borough, starting a repaving program, but that's up to the Public Works to coordinate. They're not gonna repave a road knowing that PSE&G is due to do that next year.
Right,
So
yeah.
they'll all coordinate to
Yeah.
get, as PSE&G, we have no control over, but they'll coordinate with our director to.
But as I said, even with coordination, streets that are probably not gonna get repaved then, half of it.
Well-
Because like I said, you need a grant, you're gonna need something.
Well, we get the grants from the DOT, we could do some in-house, but we
But
can't
it's-
do everything, right?
it takes
Right, or
a long
not
time.
right away, yeah.
That gets it.
It's a process, for
Yeah,
sure.
okay, appreciate it.
Anyone else? Good evening.
Dave Reniak, 322 South Main Street. He got one of my questions, thank you for that. I was wondering about The water meter replacements, are they the digital ones where, you know, you don't even have to go in there and?
The smart meter program.
Okay. And all the new meters are gonna be like that from now on?
The new meters, yeah, we're actually have a meeting upcoming about that, how to keep taking the next step with that smart metering program, but yes,
Okay.
all the new meters being installed, that smart meter.
Yeah, I know they're more expensive, but.
Sorry, good question. I was wondering when you said that, is it the AMI or the
It's gonna be-
AMR?
We're
Are we
looking to
doing
do
the pucks?
AMI. We're
AMI?
looking to do AMI.
Okay. The AMI is
That's where you have
the
to touch
infrastructure
it.
where you drive by.
Oh, okay.
You don't even need to,
Yeah,
you won't
or
even need
push
to
a button
drive by.
from home
Yeah.
base.
Okay.
They're
And
gonna
get
put
all the
one
reads as
antenna.
opposed to, having to go over and at least swap or drive
Right.
past.
James will be able to give or Councilman Peretti, pardon me, will be able to give an update at the next meeting.
Okay, cool. Thank you very much. Also, the Borough Park bathrooms were painted. Was there any other repairs done by chance? Because I know they
Not
aren't
yet.
that
That's something
pretty.
we're going to actually try to discuss at our next DPW committee meeting.
Awesome, thank you. And I had one other thing. Okay, something that's bugged me a little bit is we get the reports for so many cars pulled over and everything, but we don't get the demographics for it. And I was wondering if there's a way that we can keep track of that, because I live on South Main Street, right on the other, on the Milltown side of the Turnpike Bridge, and unfortunately, whenever I see the flashing lights coming on, I look outside, and it seems like it's always a person of color who's pulled over, and that's a little concerning. So I was wondering if we could get the demographics of that, or if it's even available, or.
I will contact Chief Kennelly and see if they have that information available.
Okay, thank you.
Steve, I know I had a meeting with Chief Kennelly last year regarding a few items, and that is recorded.
Okay.
And that's, I believe, public record, so that if that's going to be part of the report going forward, but I know Chief Kennelly has that because that's required by the state.
Okay.
So that's all categorized and tracked as well.
Okay, excellent. Thank you very much.
Thanks. Anyone else? See, do you want to close? No,
I
that's
just
all.
had a quick question as a follow-up.
Okay, so you can do that in 10 minutes.
Okay.
So I'll close audience
Sorry.
comments and move on to council comments. Does any member of the council have any final comments?
Just a follow-up to that question. I'm not sure who would have the answer. I know, James, you just said that it is recorded as public record. How would somebody access that public record?
Again, that's a good, probably better question for Chief Kennelly to
Yeah.
go about it, but I would,
Yeah, well.
I don't know if it's go from the records office or for like
Like
Public
a-
Freedom of Information Act. I'm not
Yeah.
sure exactly how to get that, but Chief Kennelly would probably give Dave and back to the other Dave more information on that.
Well, yeah, we'll have public safety follow up.
I will follow up. That's one of my action items. So, and Madam Mayor, I actually do have one comment, and that was what you had indicated regarding the JK March Madness event that we had last Friday. Playing with my fellow heroes, the Milltown Fire, Police, and Rescue. I did the jump ball and then pulled myself out. I knew when to say when. But it was a close game going into overtime where the students pulled the victory out of from the heroes. They won by 2.
Good for them.
And then the next game was very competitive. Teachers against the students was a very close game, but the students won by 3. So the students won both the games, and we're looking forward to attend this event next year as well.
Great. Anyone else?
Yes, Madam Mayor, a couple comments. First, Mr. Erniak, thanks for your concerns and your comments. I will say that on the way here this evening, I drove down Main Street to avoid the construction on JFK for the gas mains, and I did see a vehicle pulled over, and the gentleman was Caucasian, as far as I could tell. So it appears to me that we're targeting all who speed and don't do what they're supposed to do in town. In regards to Mr. Weisenberg's comments, I agree, and actually this council, a few of us on the side, have brought it up with this rebid for Hague and Patain, and our concern being that we're going to spend money to pave a road after PSE&G just paved half, because in fact they did do the work over there. So we are going to be working together to make sure that we get the most bang for our buck out of the projects that we are funding or that we have grants for, and then hopefully be able to convince PSE&G for equal share that if we're paving a road where they were going to do half, that they then take that same quantity and apply it to another area where they were only going to do half. And hopefully that'll help us get some of those other roads, especially up in your neighborhood, paved curb to curb. So I did want to point that out. Other than that, I'm a little concerned hearing that the lights for the baseball fields are not going to be done in time. On a positive note, for any residents listening, going, great, my kid's going to play in the dark. I coached last year, and the springtime is okay, because as you play, it's still pretty light, especially as you get towards the summer. But I'm hopeful, and hopefully we can hold some feet to the fire here, but they got to be in before the fall. Because playing in the fall on Field 2 is an absolute nightmare that you start at 5:30, rushing to get the kids, and you get about 45 minutes, and by the time the end of the season comes, you get a half hour. So we got to get those lights in. No ifs, ands, or buts about it for the fall, but I think for the springtime, luckily, nature's on our side. And with that, end of my comments, other than I had an absolutely fantastic time hanging out with some of the council members here, and Madam Mayor at the 4th of July fundraiser. I heard that the wings were a big hit. People were eating wings and no one got sick, which was awesome. Big kudos to whoever cooked those. And a lot of fun had by all, and if you can attend next year, hopefully everyone comes out again.
Great.
That's it for me.
Anyone else? Hearing none, I will take a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Potter, second by Councilwoman O'Donnell. All in favor?
Aye.
Have a good night, everyone. Thanks for coming.
Good night, everybody. But this is what messed